Okay, this is my review of Ad Astra. I started this once and I almost said this is my review of Interstellar. Maybe I'll go back and review Interstellar someday. Um, but Ad Astra. I knew this one was going to be a problem when my dad went and saw it, and he had nothing good to say about it. Um, Uh, I do have a few good things to say about it. The visuals are incredible. The shots of the moon are incredible. The shots of Mars are incredible. The shots of the spaceships are incredible. It's one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen, and that really is the tragedy of these kind of movies. Is you've made this beautiful object, and when it comes to the story involved, it just, oh my god, it just sucks the soul out of you. I'm not going to go into the science of it and all that kind of thing, because space pirates on the moon, yeah, so incredibly problematic. Like I said, the space chase was beautiful, but if you look at it from like I found it incredibly not engaging. It's like this is supposed to be like one of the big set pieces of the entire movie, and you're just kind of like, oh, okay, here come the bad guys. Oh, somehow they beat the bad guys by crashing. I don't know. I'm gonna really look at sort of I'm really thinking about like the emotional content of the movie, and this movie feels like one of those things where the writer had an idea. The idea was um, the guy has lost his father. His father has left on this deep space mission, and then he's going to go find his father and sort of deal with his father issues. Okay. The sort of main problem with all of this is that Brad Pitt's character is a soulless, emotionless husk of nothing. Um, and, it's like, I don't find that very engaging. Whether or not he's supposed to be a hero or not a hero, he's not a human being. He's this husk. He's this really uninteresting husk that has no layers to him. His whole layer is my dad left, and I don't know how to emotionally connect. He has an ex-wife, or maybe she's still the wife. I don't know, because there is no point. I don't think there's any point at which they exchange words. And I mean, I understand the sort of premise is that he doesn't, he has to be emotionally distant because he's an astronaut. Okay, but we need to see that sort of breakdown through the movie where he actually becomes emotional. At one point, he's like trying to, send this message off to his dad, and he sends this second message, and it's supposed to be like the really emotional one, and it's like this husk emotion Brad Pitt that's like, uh, hey, Dad. I mean, but that's the thing. He's not even sad. He's not even. He's just like there's nothing there. And I mean, it's like you meet people and you see people. Skip back a second. This movie really feels like the screenwriter, director, watched a lot of good movies like Apocalypse Now, because there's all this voiceover. And so I went back and I just watched the first 40 minutes of Apocalypse Now last night while I was watching Ad Astra. And I was like, let me refresh myself on this movie because I haven't seen it in a while, and I want to see if it's the same thing where Martin Sheen's character is like broken like that. He's like a soulless husk. He is not. He is conflicted, he is damaged, but all of that emotion is pouring out of him, and he knows he has to do this mission, but man, he is darkly conflicted about this thing. The Brad Pitt character, just a husk, just an uninteresting husk that never has an interesting conversation, that never really has an emotional arc, and you're just like, and then they have this whole other weird plot device, which makes no sense is that right before anybody does anything, right before they get on a spaceship, just a commercial spaceship. So they're just traveling from the Earth to the Moon, which like lots of normal people do, I suppose. They have to get this whole psychological profile from a computer, and it asks you, how you feeling, da da da, and uh, and there's no explanation as to why this is. There's just it's sort of a government monitoring thing, but it's never expressed, and so it's like this this sort of weird passive Big Brother. And if it meant something, then explain. Give us some explanation as to what the heck this thing is. But no, just sort of floated out there. We're just gonna do this thing. And the other big thing, the other big character trait of Brad Pitt's character is that he's Mr. Not affected by anything, because he can keep his heart rate at this super low calm level. And you're like, that is the world. It's like in cop movies, you have the person that goes off, that you can, Mel Gibson's character in Lethal Weapon, you can't, he's just going to go off. And Danny Glover's character's, I'm the compassionate family man who calms him down. And you're like, oh, we got this dichotomy, we've got this relationship. But Brad Pitt's character is, his character is not to have character, to not be affected. And so what? Why am I supposed to give a crap about this guy? And you really don't. You really don't. You're just like, I don't really care. Get attacked by space monkeys. I don't care. We know you're gonna live. And that's the other thing is, there's no dynamic tension because we know he's gonna live. We know he's gonna get out there. We know, man, when you're watching Apocalypse Now, you're just like, these people, when something explodes, you know what they do? When ordnance goes off, they freaking dive to the ground because their lives are threatened. Brad Pitt's character, I don't really care. And so the whole thing is Tommy Lee Jones has gone to the edge of the universe to search for intelligent life. They don't explain how. They don't explain why. They just say, he's gone out there to do this. They kind of act like we already know or something. I mean, and at the very, very end of the movie, or near the end of the movie, they sort of explain what was actually going on out there. But if they'd have thrown us that bone at the beginning so that we kind of knew what he was doing out there, but no, they just, it's vague. And that's another incredibly annoying thing is you disenfranchise your audience when you don't have them emotionally invested in what's going on. If they find out later and go, oh, he was out there mapping the further universe and he needed to get as far away as possible. I mean, they even don't say this. He needs to get as far away as possible from all the noise of all the, solar rays or whatever. They don't say this. Don't say it. No. They don't say this, but they sort of, that's what I assume when they talk about it, because they just say he's gone out there to search for extraterrestrial life. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. Do they mean out in the cold space they're there? But what it is it's sort of like it's putting them way out there so that they can look at everything and map all these worlds. And he finds that there's nothing going on out there. Okay, well that's an interesting concept to sort of unpack. But you don't get to unpack it because you're not told it till the last few minutes of the movie. Great. So Tommy Lee Jones's character's gone out there, left his son behind, blah, 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 in search of extraterrestrial life. Why he cares about extraterrestrial life? Don't know. He never even has a single line where he's like, this would prove that God exists. This would prove this would prove. No, none of those things. Why would you tell us those things? I don't know. Why would you throw us one line that explains this guy's entire life? Because he, and that's the whole point. The whole point is he's just there as a prop to this really terrible point that they're going to get to, which I will get to. So Brad Pitt's character, Huskman, goes out there and he goes through all these weird things where he has to swim through a lake to get onto a ship. And what we find out is so Tommy Lee Jones has gone out there, and now his ship is somehow shooting some sort of terrible beams back to Earth and killing all of us. Okay, that makes no sense, but whatever. And so they're basically going out there to kill him. Apocalypse Now, anyone? So, but of course, and that's the other great thing if you think about Apocalypse Now is Apocalypse Now, like Kurtz is out there in the jungle and he's not really affecting anything. He's just doing weird stuff, and the military's just like, we're done with this guy. He's just causing problems. He's not destroying the United. In this thing we have to have this whole pumped up thing where Brad Pitt's mission is to save the world, and basically the eventual thing when they finally launch the rocket is they're going to take a nuclear weapon out there and blow him up. Why you can't just launch a nuclear missile from the Earth and just send it out there and boom, it's done. But for some reason, we have to go out there and talk to him first. I don't know. So Tommy Lee Jones' character is out there doing his extraterrestrial thing, and we find out that he killed everyone else on the ship because they wanted to go home. Kind of, and the implication is they wanted to go home because they didn't find any extraterrestrial life, I think. And I mean, if you're mapping the entire universe looking for extraterrestrial life, this is not a mission and they make it seem like he killed them all like in the first month or, once again, none of this is sort of explained. And so he's killed his whole crew so that he can stay out there and keep looking, or he can, like, I don't know. I don't know. It's not really specified because that doesn't matter. And when that doesn't matter, the whole motivations of one of the two characters, and more importantly, one of the only characters that actually has a motivation. Brad Pitt's character's motivation is to, I don't know. So Brad Pitt's going to go out there. And, you're kind of like, I think the dynamic tension of the movie is trying to say, is he going to go and kill his dad? Is that what he's going to do? Oh my God, he's going to get to this crossroads point where he's going to have to decide to kill his dad or not kill his dad. You're like, oh, no, I mean, that would be pretty conflicting if you have to kill your dad. So he on Mars, he's going to get on the ship that's going to take him out there, and so they don't want to take him because he's become emotionally compromised. Surprise, surprise. You're sending the guy out there to kill his dad. He's emotionally compromised. Ugh. So he swims through the lake and climbs up there, and then trying to get on the ship, he's like, I'm just here to be your friend. And all the people on the ship become homicidal maniacs, essentially, and start shooting guns at him and pulling out space knives and trying to kill him, and then he succeeds in killing all of them. So just like his dad, he's killed everyone on the mission. For I mean, if Brad Pitt really cared about the Earth, he would have just let them go out there, blow up the bomb, solve the problem. But instead, he thinks there's some really deep reason that he needs to be there. There isn't, of course, except to have some sort of supposed emotional point in the movie that some writer has decided is this big emotional point that we're going to deal with. So he gets out there, he meets his dad. The dad is kind of crazy, but the dad says to him, I chose this over you and your mom and blah, blah, blah on Earth because I don't care about you guys. Oh, actually, let's back it up 1 second. Brad Pitt shows up, brings the nuclear bomb, puts the nuclear bomb down, sets it up to blow up. Doesn't, like, before a word has spoken, he's like click, 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 click. He doesn't actually push the timer button, but he's his priority number one, not the dad, which would seem he's killed all these people and done all these terrible things. Not the dad. His number one thing is send up the bomb. Okay, so he is on the mission to kill his dad. It's not his number one mission. Is not, or he's not just there to sort of say, "Hey, Dad, why were you such an asshole?" So Dad's like, oh man, I'm an asshole because I only care about finding this extraterrestrial life. And then he says, like, I think it's literally the next line, oh, it's so sad that fate has has stopped us from being able to work together on my grand project. And I just sat there to myself and I said, fate didn't do anything. You, Mr. Tommy Lee Jones character, have decided all of these things because you have decided them. Fate had nothing to do with anything. You made all these decisions. You're the one that wanted to go out there. You're the one that killed your crew. You're the one that's crazy and can't see. And you're just like, oh, why? So Brad Pitt's character is like, I'm taking you home. Okay, so I guess that's what it was. Is he really went out there to save his dad, but also to save the earth? So he's gonna like, I'm gonna get a twofer. I mean, all these other people died, but I got to save this guy. This guy that just said to me, 30 seconds ago, I don't really care about you. Don't care about you. So, so he sets up the bomb for 3 hours. He goes out into space, and they tether each other together. And then Tommy Lee Jones's character, like, shoots a burst of air to go flying out into space to die, but they're tethered together. And then they're together. And then Tommy Lee Jones's character says, "You gotta let me go." And then Tommy Lee Jones's character untethers himself and shoots himself off into space to die. What? He like didn't even allow Brad Pitt's character to make a decision. Once Brad, he just makes the decision, and you're like, oh, okay. So that's what this is all about. This is all about letting he it is the whole this is Brad Pitt's character's process of going about letting go of his dad. His dad, who he thought was dead. He didn't let him go when he thought he was dead. He had to actually find him and have this weird interaction and watch the dad die by his own hand. And you're just like, oh my god. And so Brad Pitt's character goes through the thing, gets on the ship, and then the explosion, thrown back to Earth. Somehow, like I said, we're not going to get into the mathematics of all the crazy things he's able to do, without even really having any expertise. In the old Matt Damon Martian movie, at least Matt Damon's character would talk you through things, and you were like, oh, this guy's clever. This guy's smart. This guy knows what he's doing. This guy's a pro. Brad Pitt's character is just like, I'm 79 days in space and I'm going crazy and I don't know what I'm thinking and I don't. He doesn't become a human being through all this craziness. He just becomes huskier. More and more of this horrible husk human being that you're just like, man, just off yourself, So he gets back to Earth and they don't put him in jail for killing all these people and doing all these things. I guess he's a hero, but they don't really, we don't deal with any of that. Like, because consequences, things happen in the movie. Consequences, who cares? So he gets back there and boom, here comes Liv Tyler. He's drinking in a bar. Like you just went out to the edge of space. You're the son of like the most important astronaut ever, and you just saved the world, right? Because ostensibly he blew up the thing and world saved. Yeah, that guy, who knows who he is? So she walks in the bar and looks over at him, and then we go to black. So basically, he's gone out into space, watched his dad die, blown up his dad, killed his dad. Yeah, basically went out and killed his dad, made sure his dad was dead, and saved the world. And now he's back, and he's going to be a real human being. Husk boy, Husk Mister, my heart rate has learned a great lesson to let go of his dad, who he thought was dead anyways, who he would have already let go with. Now he's going to be good to his wife and not be a giant amoral husk. I think he's still going to be a husk. And that's, like, I understand you don't want to make the same old adventure movie. Okay, but there's a thing about adventure movies and people going through actual emotional struggles that actually mean something. Emotional struggles mean something. Characters going through emotional, in the Avengers, when they're at the end, not the second to last one, and Thanos has killed off half the universe, and you watch all those characters die. You know they're gonna come back. You know Spider-Man's not gone. Of course you know that. But it's harsh, man. It's harsh watching them die. It's harsh watching Peter Parker die. And when Brad Pitt watched his dad go off into space to die, you know what he did? He did nothing. He did nothing. He didn't. I mean, maybe he said, "Dad, I love you." I don't think he did. I think. Oh my God. We got the. we we got the gardeners here. He didn't do anything. He was a husk, just a human husk of nothing. The other thing was Natasha Lyonne was in this movie for 30 seconds, and she basically played an interstellar TSA agent. You have brought someone like that onto set, and you can't give them anything to do. Nothing to do, and that just tells you the whole movie. Your characters have nothing to do. They're husks. Horrible, horrible husks.